WNBA MVP Breanna Stewart held up a, quote, abolish ICE sign during players' intros ahead of the missed game this afternoon. Photo via Unrivaled Basketball. Unrivaled Basketball literally put this up for real.
You have to look at the sheer arrogance of thinking you can lecture the hard-working people paying your bills without facing any consequences in the open market. Breanna Stewart lives in this protected bubble where everyone agrees with her radical views, but the second that broadcast hits the airwaves, she faces the cold reality of the real world. It is a complete and total disconnect from the working-class sports fan who just wants an escape from the daily grind and not a reminder of political strife and division. The audacity to stand there and bite the hand that feeds you is something that will be studied in business schools as exactly what not to do.
Breanna Stewart and Naphesia Collier is, failing to draw any eyeballs. I saw earlier this week where literally, I believe in the 18 to 49 ad demographic, which is the demographic that, people that are trying to sell products or shows or whatever else they're trying to get you interested in, that's the statistic. That's the amount of viewers that they care about. How many people between the ages of 18 and 49?
You genuinely have to wonder what Naphesia Collier is thinking right now as she watches her business partner set fire to their joint investment with a single piece of cardboard. She put her name and reputation on the line to build Unrivaled from the ground up, and now she has to watch the ship sink because Stewart prioritized a photo op over the payroll. That is going to be one of the most awkward locker room conversations in history when the financial reports come back in the red and the investors start asking where the money went. It is unfair to Collier and everyone else involved who actually wanted to build a legacy based on basketball excellence.
Probably support the crap, the trash that she's got to promote. And a lot of these radical players in this league, and this league, the WNBA has largely been unwatched all these years because of their politics in a lot of ways. It's one radically left political message after another from these players. And, it's crazy. The WNBA and Unrivaled, they actually got...
The WNBA and Unrivaled were handed a winning lottery ticket in the form of Caitlin Clark, and instead of cashing it in, they are ripping it to shreds right in front of our faces. Millions of people tuned in for the deep threes and the fast-paced offense, but they are being met with divisiveness that makes them change the channel faster than you can blink. It is quite possibly the biggest fumble in sports history, and we are watching it happen in slow motion while the players cheer for their own demise like they accomplished something great. You cannot build a dynasty when you are actively driving away the very people who just showed up to the party.
They don't understand. People that watch, that's who pays your bills. That's who consumes your product. That's who keeps your league afloat. Well, many fans answered this loudly, swiftly, and to the point. Quote, I stand with child molesters, Breanna Stewart. And of course, Will Young is referring to all...
Let's get real about the specific message, because holding up an abolish ICE sign isn't just a casual political stance, it is a radical position that most Americans fundamentally disagree with. When you put that on a sign, you are effectively telling law enforcement families and border security supporters that they are the enemy and they are not welcome in your arena. You cannot expect those same people to buy your jerseys and purchase tickets to your games when you are openly mocking their values on national television for clout. It is a slap in the face to millions of potential customers who would have loved the game if you just let them watch it in peace.
Well, GR, credit to you for hanging in as long as you did, I guess. How to make sure we won't watch? Make it political. Absolutely. At WNBA, I see that you care more about criminals than you do victims. I don't see any of your players making signs for all the victims that were killed or raped by illegal aliens and criminals from other countries. I mean, these players, unbelievable. Abolish her off the union board. She's hoping to bury the WNBA, and the goal is to save her failing league.
Breanna Stewart joked about not being good at math during the collective bargaining agreement negotiations, but nobody is laughing now because the numbers are screaming a warning that she refuses to hear. You cannot demand charter flights and million-dollar salaries when your actions are directly responsible for cratering the revenue stream that pays for those luxuries. It is basic cause and effect, and if she can't see that, then she has absolutely no business running a league or representing the players' union in any capacity. The economics of sports are brutal, and they do not care about your feelings or your political activism when the bottom line hits zero.
She just put the nail in the coffin of Unrivaled. It's over. Laugh out loud. Abolish the police was so unpopular, it elected Trump again. Nice going, dummies. Good idea. Trying to grow women's sports while alienating half the country's population. She not only speaks for Unrivaled, which is circling the drain, but she's the VP of the WNBPA. Could women's basketball be any more unserious? It's pretty baffling. Abolish Unrivaled.
Network executives are watching this absolute disaster unfold, and they are definitely rethinking their investment strategies for the future of women's basketball media rights. They signed up for high-level sports entertainment and exciting highlights, not for a political soapbox that drives away advertisers and alienates the key demographics. When the contract renewal comes up, do not be surprised if the offers are significantly lower, because nobody wants to pay premium prices for a toxic product that comes with this much baggage. Television is a business of numbers, and right now, Unrivaled is putting up numbers that would get a public access show canceled.
And clearly, a lot of people got tired of watching Unrivaled, and if these players aren't careful, all the new viewership to the WNBA is going to disappear as well. Breanna Stewart has a lot of sports fans madder than hell right now. And I understand why. We all know what's going on up in Minnesota right now. And all hell's breaking loose on social media. And now
The name Unrivaled was supposed to mean that the competition was unmatched, but now it just means they have no rivals because nobody else is foolish enough to play this losing game. They are competing against themselves and losing badly because they forgot the first rule of show business, which is to entertain the paying crowd before anything else. It is a tragic waste of potential because the concept of 3-on-3 basketball with stars is actually a gold mine if it is managed by adults who understand business. Instead, we have a vanity project that is burning cash and goodwill at a rate that is frankly terrifying to watch.
Oh, wait. Laugh out loud. Yeah, they've kind of abolished themselves. This is stupid. Now I know why I don't watch these uninformed grifters. Strings. Unrivaled was being held on by as it was circling the drain. Whatever tentacles were still hanging on to keep it from going down the toilet, I would say have just broken. Wow. No, I don't get political a lot on this channel at all. I think maybe last year I literally made 7 videos on the channel that might have had something to do with politics. But yeah, when one of these players makes a dumbass statement like this, better believe I talk about basketball on this channel, I'm going to call it out every time. Tell me what you think. Peace, I'm out.
I have scrolled through thousands of comments on social media, and the sentiment is overwhelmingly negative, with fans feeling completely betrayed by the league they wanted to support. You see lifelong basketball junkies saying they're done, and that is a customer you almost never get back once they walk away from your product. It takes years and decades to build trust with an audience, and Breanna Stewart destroyed it in seconds with a Sharpie and a total lack of situational awareness. These fans aren't coming back next week because you showed them that you care more about your agenda than their enjoyment of the sport. Every interview these players give is about growing the game and getting more respect for female athletes, but their actions speak louder than words, and these actions scream exclusion. You cannot claim to want growth while shrinking your target demographic to a tiny sliver of political activists who probably don't even buy tickets. True growth comes from being a big tent that welcomes everyone, regardless of how they vote or where they come from. But Unrivaled has decided to lock the doors to the majority. It is the definition of hypocrisy to preach inclusion while practicing the most aggressive form of exclusion imaginable. My heart legitimately breaks for the rookies and the mid-level players who are grinding in the gym every single day, just hoping for a chance to shine on the big stage. They didn't ask for this controversy, and they certainly didn't sign up to be collateral damage in Breanna Stewart's personal political crusade against the system. Their earning potential is being capped by the selfishness of the stars at the top, who already have their millions secured and don't have to worry about the next paycheck. It is a betrayal of the sisterhood they claim to represent, because the little guy is the one getting crushed by these decisions. That 20,000 viewer number in the key demographic is not just bad, it is catastrophic for anyone trying to sell commercial time to major brands. Advertisers like beer companies and car manufacturers need eyeballs to justify the spend, and they are not getting them here, which means the money will stop flowing. If the sponsors walk away, the league folds, and that is a mathematical certainty that no amount of social justice posting on Instagram can change. You are watching a business bleed out in real time, and the people in charge are refusing to apply a tourniquet because they think they are right. Look at how the NBA and NFL handle their business. They focus on the product on the field and try to minimize distractions, even when things get heated, because they know where the money comes from. They understand that the game is the main attraction, and everything else is secondary to the fan experience and the advertiser's satisfaction. Unrivaled has flipped the script and made the politics the main event, while the basketball has become a boring sideshow that nobody cares about or watches. It is a fundamental misunderstanding of why people watch sports, and it is driving the entire operation into the ground. People love to mock the phrase, "go woke, go broke," but we are looking at a real-world case study that proves the concept is alive and well in the sports industry. When you prioritize signaling virtue over delivering value, you lose your customer base and your revenue dries up instantly, leaving you with nothing but your pride. It is not a political talking point, it is a market reality that Breanna Stewart is learning the hard way right now as her league circles the drain. The market is undefeated, and it will punish bad business decisions with ruthless efficiency every single time without fail.
The WNBA needs to have a serious emergency meeting to discuss whether they want to be a premier sports league or a political action committee for radical causes. They are at a critical crossroads, and if they follow Breanna Stewart down this path, they will remain a niche curiosity forever instead of a global powerhouse. The potential to be a major player in the sports world is there, but it requires a level of professionalism that is currently missing from the leadership. You have to decide if you want to make money or if you want to make statements, because right now you are failing at both. There is this massive pressure on modern athletes to speak out on every single issue, but sometimes the smartest business move is to just shut up and dribble the ball. Michael Jordan famously said, "Republicans buy sneakers too,"
And that mindset made him a billionaire global icon who transcended politics entirely. Breanna Stewart seems to think she doesn't need those customers, and her bank account is going to reflect that arrogance very soon if this keeps up. You are alienating the people with the disposable income required to keep your league afloat, and that is just plain stupid. As the vice president of the WNBA Players Association, Stewart is supposed to be the voice of reason that protects the financial interests of the collective group. Instead, she is the arsonist lighting the fire that threatens to burn down the entire house, while the other players are trapped inside wondering what happened. It is a dereliction of duty, and the union members should be calling for her resignation before she does any more irreparable damage to their futures. You cannot have a leader who is actively working against the financial success of the people she is supposed to be representing. The mainstream media will try to spin this as a brave stance, but they are not the ones paying the bills or buying the season tickets to the games. They will write glowing articles about her courage while the ratings plummet and the league goes bankrupt because they don't care about the economics of the situation. The fans see through the gaslighting, and they know that a failing business is a failing business, no matter how many puff pieces you write about it in the papers. The scoreboard doesn't lie, and right now the scoreboard says that the fans are rejecting this product unanimously. I saw comments calling these players uninformed grifters, and while that is harsh, it is hard to argue against it when you see the results of their leadership. They are taking money from investors and fans while actively working against the success of the product they're selling to the public. It feels like a scam when the people running the show care less about the success of the league than the people watching it at home. If you aren't trying to win over the audience, then what are you even doing in the entertainment business in the first place? Unless there is a massive course correction immediately, Unrivaled is going to end up as a footnote in history, as a failed experiment that couldn't read the room. It will be remembered not for the basketball, but for the hubris of its founders, who thought they were bigger than the game itself. It is a sad ending to a story that could have been great, but you cannot defy the laws of economics forever without paying the price. The graveyard of failed sports leagues is full of ventures that didn't respect the customer, and Unrivaled is buying a plot right now.
We need to stop making excuses for bad business decisions and start holding these leaders accountable for the destruction of women's sports potential. If you care about basketball, you should be furious that Breanna Stewart is hijacking the game for her own personal agenda at the expense of everyone else. Keep talking about this and keep voting with your wallet, because that is the only language these people understand, and it is the only way to save the sport. This is a wake-up call, and if the league doesn't answer it, then they deserve everything that is coming to them.